friend Stephanie Armstrong. Hello, everybody. I hope you had a marvelous lunch and an incredible start to your day. Hi, I see people waving at me that I recognize. Nice to see you. So, thank you for the generous introduction, Leanne. And I just have to ask, can we give Leanne and Ken and Stephanie a huge round of applause? They worked so hard to make this possible for you. And to be honest, I know that if I was sitting in your seats when I was your age, something like this could have made a real big difference in my life. And I know that I had a lot of people telling me what to do. Like my teachers would tell me what to do, and my parents would tell me what to do. And then even sometimes I'd go to these events and like more people would tell me what to do. Do you guys feel like you get told what to do a lot, like I did? You raise your hand. Yeah, quite a few of you, awesome. So, I'm not here today to tell you what to do, and I hope that's okay. And I'm not here today really because of any of those reasons in that bio. I'm here today because I love this organization, and I really care about all of you, some of whom I've met, and some of you I've never met before. But I care about who you are and who you're being called to be in this world. And so I'm here and hopefully to make just a small difference or a big difference for you. I'll start telling you a little bit how I came to know Women Direct Foundation because it's important. 4 years ago, I was working a job in marketing. I was managing these big old marketing programs at a San Diego company, and I really didn't like my job very much. How many of you have a class in school that you don't like? Yeah. So that's kind of like how I was. I knew I had to be there, and I'd sit there in meetings sometimes just like, this stinks. That organization that you told me to go check out 4 years ago when I was working for you, I am speaking there today or tomorrow. And she laughed and she goes, you know, that's fine. You'll always be the punk kid that would sit in the back of the meetings with your hair pushed up like a mustache, wondering what the heck am I doing here? But she's like, you know what? I always knew that you had potential and you just needed to find out where that was going to be. I don't know if any of you feel that way in your life sometimes. But today, I chose the topic, being perfect. I was asked to come talk, and of all the things I could talk about, I thought about being perfect. Because what connects us girls? A lot of amazing things. But one of the things that we all face is this, like, am I good enough? Am I perfect enough? Who am I supposed to be in the world? And some of you might be sitting there in your chairs today, thinking, so yeah, I got asked to come to this leadership conference. Maybe it was because of my more perfect traits, because I get good grades, because I'm nice to people at school, because I'm a really good athlete and I'm a leader on my team. Some others of you might be sitting there like, I don't know why the heck I was asked to come here, but I showed up anyways. And chances are, the reasons that you're here are not the reasons that you think they are. Because chances are, the reasons that you're here are not because of what you are doing. I'd like to ask, just to get us started, about this idea of perfection. What does perfect mean to you? Do you want to just raise your hands? And can I actually, would one of you mind scribing for me? Writing? Yes, over here. Thank you. So, what does perfect mean to you? Yes, over here. And could you just stand and say it like 1 or 2 words? Trying to be your best. Awesome. Thank you. And in the back, yes. Can you say it really loud? Flawless. Thank you. Absolutely. And anyone else here? Being yourself. Yes. It means nothing. You can't be perfect, so why try? So true. Thank you. So let's give them all a round of applause. And I thought, what is it going to take for me? I really wanted to be accepted, really wanted to be popular, really wanted to be loved. So I looked around and thought, what is it going to mean for me to be perfect? That's what I thought that it would take to be that. And I'll just show you a little bit about. So this is my family, and my brother, my mom, and my dad, and my sister. That's my new little nephew. I wanted to show you him. And this was high school and middle school. So when I was around that time, I was an athlete, and I was a swimmer, as you see, and I swim a lot. And I looked around and I thought, I was going to try my hardest, try my best, and accept just who I was, to be perfect in all the ways that I thought I needed to be. So I worked really hard at swimming. My coach told me, don't miss practice. So I didn't miss practice no matter what it cost. Like through injury or sickness, I loved swimming, so I would do it. And then school. I was going to work really hard at school. So even in the classes that I didn't like, I would see what I could do to get the best grades I could possibly get. And then friends. I wanted to be accepted with friends, so I worked really hard to be accepted by the people that I thought were cool and popular and interesting. And I thought I was doing everything the right way. You see, I created this life, and to me, I didn't know that being perfect, it was really okay to be a little bit more imperfect. I wasn't quite aware that if there were things that I was a little bit more confused about, that I could really share them. So what started as this perfect life So I had this perfect life. I had this perfect heart, and so I thought everything was going okay. But what happened to me in high school was I got my first boyfriend, and I really liked him. He was a really good football player. He was pretty hot. But then that boyfriend cheated on me. And then he broke up with me. And then I went to some of my classes, and I was working really hard. I wanted to get like the best SAT scores that I could possibly get. But I would get some bad grades. And then actually, I got caught cheating once. And then what I did was, I didn't tell the truth. And then later on in high school, another boyfriend that I had, he started wanting to go a little bit further than I wanted to go. And girls, as a side note, let me tell you, that sex and being this like awesome, sexy woman for guys is so celebrated in our culture. And it's on every music video and TV show that you see. And I succumbed to that, because that's what I thought. I was like, oh, I could be sexy too. But I did. I gave in to what he wanted, but I wasn't ready yet for. And I thought that was cool because that's what everybody else was doing. But what it did was it made me feel real awful inside. So then when I got to nationals, my junior year, swimming, being that go-getter girl, and the college coaches were going to be there. This was going to be like the biggest time that I had in my life. And I didn't swim well. So things got really hairy. And when my coach told me to lose 10 pounds, to ride a little bit higher in the water, I ended up developing an eating disorder that would almost take my life in the end. You see, this was a gradual process, and I was walking around thinking I had my life together. I got it handled. If little things like this happened, I didn't really need to tell anybody about it, because I didn't want anybody to know that I wasn't perfect. So I kept that all inside. And little by little, I realized that while I had this perfect exterior going on inside, I was actually dying inside. And while people would see, I was a leader on the outside. Well, on the inside, I was anything but. All those qualities that Molly just mentioned of a leader, I didn't have them inside because I was working so hard on that hamster wheel, trying to make everybody else happy, that I completely lost focus, lost sight of who I was inside, or what I wanted, what my boundaries might be with guys, what I wanted to study in school, maybe what even college I wanted to go to. Because in fact, I wanted to go to UC Berkeley, but when my coach and my parents told me, you should go to Michigan, I thought, all right, I will go to Michigan, because everybody knew what was best for me. And I want to ask you, what's it like to be you these days? So I'm going to ask, we're going to do a little interactive exercise right now, and it requires no talking. It'll give you a nice chance to stretch after your lunch. So for this first question, please just stand and remain standing if your answer is yes. And just be honest. Thank you. So if you're standing, please remain standing. And if your answer is yes to the second question, just raise your right hand. And if you're still seated and your answer is yes to this question, go ahead and stand and raise your right hand. Have you ever been put down or insulted for not being perfect or good enough? Please stand and raise your right hand if your answer is yes. Thank you. Now, raise your left hand if you've ever put down or insulted yourself for being not perfect or not good enough. Thank you. And just go ahead and give some jazz hands just for the fun of it. And a high five to your neighbor.
Oh no.
Awesome. And now, if you're still seated, go ahead and stand, but it looks like everybody's standing. And for this last question, I'd like you to just sit down when you hear maybe an area of your life where you feel you're not exactly perfect. Or you sometimes think that. So is there an area of your life where, okay, and then an area of your life where you sometimes feel like you're not flawless? Thank you. So we have two here that we'll just go ahead and give a huge round of applause to. Because we do have to strive. That's hard. And so we look at, well, if not that, what then? If I'm not going to be on the hamster wheel trying to keep up with some sort of image outside of myself, well, who the heck am I? And so I'll be honest with you. I told you that I went through this time when I was really dying inside. And that lasted quite a while. You see on the outside, I went and got a scholarship to swim at the University of Michigan. And then I went out to New York City, and I worked in magazines. And I thought it was the coolest job ever. If you've seen Devil Wears Prada, that's kind of what it was like. And it was awesome. But still, I got to do all these things that I thought were so great, but I was never happy inside. I never felt that good about myself inside. And something was missing. So then when I got engaged to my high school sweetheart, I moved to San Diego. And he gave me this big ring. And we had a big house. And I got this great job working in internet marketing at this great company that everybody else thought I should have. I thought I had made it big, that this is what you were supposed to do in the world. Go get a nice house and a big car and a man who loves you and a great job and everything will be okay. But it wasn't. And this eating disorder that I had, that was the way that I expressed it. It stayed with me the whole time, for 10 years. Until finally, when I did get engaged, I did break down and tell the truth. I had to get real. And I told my fiance, whatever it's going to take, I got to get this figured out. And so I went to counseling, and I actually needed a lot of help. He put me in touch with doctors that could help me get the help I needed to get well. And do you know what happened when that started to happen? My life started to crumble. I lost everything that I thought really mattered. That fancy job, my swimming career, my fiance and I broke up 6 months later. Those girls that I worked so hard with in high school to be best friends with, they all left. I'm friends with one of them now. And I thought I had nothing. So I was sitting there at this job where I met my boss, who told me about Jenna Druck Foundation. And at this time, I was in recovery. I was in repair. And I was trying to figure out what the heck matters in life. And it was here I found some of those things. One of those very important ones is that being a leader, that being a person, a whole person in life, has nothing to do with that hamster wheel or the things you get or the things you do, and everything about the health of your own heart. Because when you have that, everything else can start to flow naturally. So I challenge you to look at your life and look at your decisions. And maybe it'll show you a little bit about who you're being, because I tell you, if you look into your heart, it'll tell you what's to come. If as a high schooler or middle schooler, I would have looked into my own heart, what you really would have been able to see was that 10 years down the road, there'd be a lot of tears, a lot of loss, and a lot of mess. Because it was going to be hidden forever. But I know now, as I stand with you here, I'm still not perfect. I still have to work on things. When I came here this morning, I still was talking on the phone to one of my friends going, I'm going to talk about being perfect, and I'm wondering if that's the right topic. I'm wondering if they're going to like me or if they're going to think I'm crazy. I'm wondering if they're going to relate. And then I caught myself, and I was like, just go be yourself. Because that's what we need. We need real people to be themselves, who are courageous, willing to contribute, and collaborate with one another. And that's what you get to do right here. And I know you've had an extraordinary morning. And I'm going to ask you to really look at who can I be for the rest of this time, to take this time to really look at what matters. How can I be courageous and talk to somebody that maybe looks like they're sitting alone? Or contribute and collaborate with the people at my table, because you know what? There's a woman here that I met at my very first Jenna Druck Foundation conference that I sat right next to. Her name's Mary Mark Donne. She's been a friend of Ken's for years. And we sat next to each other, and we still keep in touch with each other. 4 years later, she'll still check in on me, I'll check in on her, and she's a wonderful woman. And that's what's possible here when girls get together and start being real. Because girls, you know, I know, there is nothing more devastating than girls who cut each other down. The girls who won't be real with one another and who look at each other to find out what are your weaknesses instead of what are your strengths. And when we start to take the time to look at one another and say, what are your strengths? Because they're different than mine. Instead of how are you different? And I can make myself a little higher because I have a higher status, a better handbag, a better smile, a more popular boyfriend. And I'm like, hey, I don't know you. Want to talk? Let's figure it out. So let's figure it out. I'm not here to tell you it's time to walk out these doors and be perfect. Because I'm still figuring it out, and I'm 33. Some days I'm like, what the heck have I done with my life? And days like this, I'm like, oh my gosh, I could not have chosen to be a little bit more full, be a little bit more whole, and be a little bit more real. So we have a video of somebody that maybe you can relate to, and another voice than mine. So we'll just watch that now. I'm not sure if most of you have probably heard of TED Talks from now. This is a teenager who speaks about figuring it out.
And movies and TV shows, these things have influenced my own website. So I think the question of what makes a strong female character often goes misinterpreted, and instead we get these two-dimensional superwomen who maybe have one quality that's played up a lot, like a Catwoman type, or she plays her sexuality up a lot and it's seen as power, but they're not strong characters who happen to be female. They're completely flat, and they're basically cardboard characters. The problem with this is that then people expect women to be that easy to understand, and women are mad at themselves for not being that simple, when in actuality, women are complicated, women are multifaceted, not because women are crazy, but because people are crazy and women happen to be people. So the flaws are the key. I'm not the first person to say this. What makes a strong female character is a character who has weaknesses, who has flaws, who is maybe not immediately likable, but eventually relatable. I don't like to acknowledge a problem without also acknowledging those who work to fix it, so just wanted to acknowledge shows like Mad Men, movies like Bridesmaids, whose female characters or protagonists are complex, multifaceted. Lena Dunham, who's on here, her show on HBO that premieres next month, Girls, she said she wanted to start it because she felt that every woman she knew was just a bundle of contradictions. And that feels accurate for all people, but you don't see women represented like that as much. Congrats, guys. But I still feel that there are some types of women who are not represented that way. And one group that we'll focus on today are teens, because I think teenagers are especially contradictory and still figuring it out. And in the 90s, there was Freaks and Geeks in My So-Called Life, and their characters, Lindsay Weir and Angela Chase, I mean, the whole premise of the shows were just them trying to figure themselves out, basically. But those shows only lasted a season each, and I haven't really seen anything like that on TV since. So this is a scientific diagram of my brain around the time when I started watching those TV shows. I was ending middle school, starting high school. I'm a sophomore now. And I was trying to reconcile all of these differences that you're told you can't be when you're growing up as a girl. You can't be smart and pretty. You can't be a feminist who's also interested in fashion. You can't care about clothes if it's not for the sake of what other people, usually men, will think of you. So I was trying to figure all that out, and I felt a little confused, and I said so on my blog, and I said that I wanted to start a website for teenage girls that was not this kind of one-dimensional strong character empowerment thing, because I think one thing that can be very alienating about a misconception of feminism is that girls then think that to be a feminist they have to live up to, being perfectly consistent in your beliefs, never being insecure, never having doubts, having all of the answers. And this is not true, and actually reconciling all the contradictions I was feeling became easier once I understood that feminism was not a rule book, but a discussion, a conversation, a process. And this is a spread from a zine that I made last year when I think I've let myself go a bit on the illustration front since, but yeah. So I said on my blog that I wanted to start this publication for teenage girls and ask people to submit their writing, their photography, whatever, to be a member of our staff. I got about 3,000 emails. My editorial director and I went through them and put together a staff of people, and we launched last September. And this is an excerpt from my first editor's letter, where I say that, rookie, we don't have all the answers, we're still figuring it out too, but the point is not to give girls the answers, and not even give them permission to find the answers themselves, but hopefully inspire them to understand that they can give themselves that permission, and they can ask real questions, find new answers, all of that. And Rookie, I think we've been trying to make it a nice place for all of that to be figured out. So I'm not saying like, be like us and we're perfect role models, because we're not. But we just want to help represent girls in a way that shows those different dimensions. I mean, we have articles called On Taking Yourself Seriously, How to Not Care What People Think of You. But we also have articles like, oops, oh, no, I'm figuring it out. If you use that, you can get away with anything. We also have articles called How to Look Like You Weren't Just Crying in Less Than 5 minutes. So, all of that being said, I still really appreciate those characters, you know, in movies and, you know, articles like that on our site that are just about being totally powerful, maybe finding your acceptance with yourself and self-esteem and your flaws and how you accept those. So, what I want you to take away from my talk, the lesson of all of this, is to just be Stevie Nicks. Like, that's all you have to do. Because my favorite thing about her, other than like everything, is that she has always been unapologetically present on stage, and unapologetic about her flaws and about reconciling all of her contradictory feelings, and she makes you listen to them and think about them, and yeah, so please be Stevie Nicks. Thank you.
So it's cool. We're in this together. And we get to choose. It's our choice what part we're going to come from. Am I going to come from satisfying what everybody else wants from me? Or am I going to choose what really feels true in my heart? So Leanne reminded me when she asked me to speak today that years ago, I wrote her an email and said, I choose that one day I want to keynote your Jenna Draft Foundation conference. And at the time, I didn't even think I was a speaker yet. I was still a marketing nerd sitting behind my computer running spreadsheets. And never in my wildest dreams would I imagine that 4 years later I'd be standing here. Thought maybe like 20 or 25 years that could be possible. But I'd like to know from you, are there a few of you that are willing to share what's one area of your life, what's one of your heart's dreams, not like what your parents want you to do, or what you think your teacher wants you to do, but what's one of your heart dreams that you're willing to declare out? Because I believe that part of what got me here is that I was willing to very innocently say, hey, Leanne, this will be great. And can we get a mic runner? Awesome, right back there.
What I really want to be is a mix of everything. Because I remember when I was in first grade, I was like, I want to be an astronaut, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a veterinarian, I want to be everything in the world. That's what I really want to be. Like, I remember my mom said, you only do one thing. I'm like,
Who are you really? What's the truth about you?
Truth was, I used to be somebody until all of a sudden I was put down and I thought I was nobody.
And will you remember your name one more time? Alexa. Alexa, thank you very much for your courage in standing up here. So I want to, so I get it. You've been put down. Can you stand? Thank you. How many other people here have been put down and they felt like just held down before? See, so you're not alone. So I really respect your courage. But I want to know, who are you really? Did that change who you are? That somebody else did that to you?
My old friends, they kept on like, wow, since she's doing that, we're just gonna walk away from her and just...
And that's what other people did. And I get that, and that hurts, right?
Yeah.
And who's in here? What's one thing you know? Do you love your friends and your family?
Yes.
You love people? What's one other thing you know about? What's in there? She loves you. Awesome. Thank you. And it's true. People will tell us what to do, will put us down, and that can feel like we really be who we are. But it's not. And it is in our choice. It's in our choice every day who we see who we are. I read a blog called I Choose Love because I have to constantly remind myself it's my choice to choose who I am and what I believe in. And I think in the mentor packs there are cards. And so asking you today, who is it that you choose? And asking you that it doesn't have to be, I want to be a lawyer or a doctor. It could be, I want to be a loving person. I want to make a difference. I want to be adventurous. I want to be caring. I want to be nice even when people are mean. And what is it that is true for you? And if you'd like support at your table, one person at your table, I thank you so much for this opportunity to be with you today and for your respect and attention and open hearts here. And just go ahead and turn to one person at your table, and I'd like you to turn your chair so that you're facing them. And this is, and if there's a group that needs to be three, then that's okay. Then go ahead and be three, but you should have a partner who's facing them. I know that sometimes life is awesome, and that sometimes life sucks. And because we both see that, we're connected. And I wish all the best. Martina